There's a bean growing wild in ditches and creek bottoms across 2/3 of this country, and dried, it carries as much protein as a steak in your refrigerator, 25 to 30% by the labs that measured it. A 3-ounce steak runs about 26 grams. Folks walk past the vine and call it a weed. What almost nobody knows is that this plant carried an English settlement through a winter, that a law got written over who could dig it, and that the reason it never reached a grocery store has nothing to do with the food. The plant is the American ground nut. Apios americana in the botany books, Hopnis in the language of the Lenape, potato bean and Indian potato to the settlers who learned about it secondhand. It's a slim green vine, twining up whatever stands next to it, and it hides 2 different foods in one plant. Underground, there's a string of brown tubers strung along a running root like beads on a cord. Above ground, in the right country, there are pods hanging off it like green beans. The pods are where that protein number comes from. Amino acid work by Wilson and his colleagues, published in the Journal of Food Science, put the seed at 25 to 30% crude protein by dry weight, and that's the honest version of the comparison: dried seed against cooked meat, the same way anybody weighs a dry lentil against a hamburger. The tubers are a different story and almost as good. The Department of Agriculture's own plant guide puts them at 13 to 17% protein by dry weight, about 3 times a potato, and higher than any other root vegetable in common use anywhere. 10 times the calcium of a potato and twice the iron, by a Japanese nutritional study from 1992. I'm Wes Kingfisher. What I bring you comes from the old accounts, the skills native peoples used on this land for thousands of years, gathered from historical records and traditional knowledge, and told the way an elder would tell it, plain, slow, and in the right order. The old ones knew things we've nearly forgotten. So listen close. In the fall of 1623, the people at Plymouth were down to a small quantity of corn, and the record says plainly what they lived on instead: ground nuts and whatever else the country handed them that could be gotten easy. The Wampanoag showed them where the vines were and what to do with the roots. That's not folklore, that's the colony's own bookkeeping, quoted in Gretchen Beardsley's 1939 study of how the peoples of eastern North America use this plant. And here's the detail almost everybody misses. Once the colonists understood what those tubers were worth, a town law went on the books to stop native people from digging ground nut on English land. The Agriculture Department's plant guide states it in one flat sentence: the people who taught the newcomers to eat it got fenced off from it. Now, what I'm showing you today has its own page in the Native American way, because the old ones never wrote this down, and somebody had to. It's 101 traditional remedies, skills, and recipes drawn from 10,000 years of native knowledge on this land, researched and written down plain, one step at a time, so it doesn't get lost. The plants the accounts say they used, and exactly how the accounts say they used them. The teas and the salves, wild food by the season, so a person knows what's ready in April and what's ready in November. Fire, shelter, and clean water. And the winter table, which is where every bit of it ended up. One book against a pharmacy aisle and a sporting goods store, for knowing that was 10,000 years in the testing. Now go ahead and grab your phone and open up your camera, the same one you use to take pictures. Point it at that square code on your screen and hold it steady for a second. A little link will pop up, give it a tap, and it will take you straight to the book. And if you are watching on your phone right now, the link is waiting for you right down below in the description. Take your time. There is no rush at all. I'll wait right here. So, that's the plant. Now comes the part that actually feeds a person, which is knowing it on sight, because this vine has a dangerous twin, and we are going to go slow here. Start with the leaf. Ground nut carries a compound leaf, alternate on the stem, usually 5 to 7 leaflets to a leaf, sometimes 3, sometimes as many as 11. Each leaflet is egg-shaped to lance-shaped, an inch or 2 long, smooth along the edge, with a clean point on the end. The vine itself is soft and green, never woody, and it dies back to the ground every winter and comes up again out of those tubers in the spring. Then the flower, and the flower is the thing that settles it. Ground nut blooms from July into October in short, tight clusters that sit right where the leaf joins the stem. The blossoms are pea-shaped and dark, maroon to brownish red with a purple cast to them, and they carry a scent on a warm evening. Late summer flower, soft vine, tight little bunches at the leaf joint. Hold on to those 3. Now the twin. Wisteria is a cousin in the same family. It wears nearly the same compound leaf, and people mix the two up constantly. But wisteria is woody. It climbs 60 feet into a tree and stays up there all winter. It blooms in the spring in long drooping lavender chains, and poison control lists its seeds and its pods as the most toxic part of the entire plant. Lectin and wisterin, both of them. Burning mouth, stomach pain, vomiting, and it can run 2 days. Nobody should ever be eating a pod off a vine they identified by leaf alone. There's one more, and it matters if you're in the southern hills. Price's potato bean is a rare cousin, listed as federally threatened back in 1990, hanging on in a few counties in Alabama, Mississippi, Tennessee, and Kentucky. Its flowers are pale, greenish yellow, going to soft pink, and it grows off one stout single tuber instead of a chain. Pale flower and one big root means walk away and leave it be. That one isn't yours to dig, which brings you to the test that ends all argument. Follow the vine down to where it enters the ground, and open a shallow trench out from the stem with your hands. What you want to find is a cord about as thick as a pencil, running sideways underground, with swellings on it at intervals, each one anywhere from a walnut to a small potato. Beads on a string. Wisteria doesn't do that, and nothing else out there does it either. And before you eat one thing you dug up, set it beside a reliable field guide for your own region and confirm it. That rule doesn't bend. The country where you'll find it is wet, low ground, stream banks, the edges of marshes both tidal and fresh, bottomland woods, wet thickets, that ditch behind the field that never quite dries out. It grows in every state from Colorado eastward, plus Ontario and Quebec, which puts it inside walking distance of most of the people watching this. And it's been here a long while. Ground nut turned up in the excavation of 4 bluff shelter sites in the Arkansas Ozarks, left by people living there before Columbus ever put a boat in the water. Hold on to that, because the reason no farm in this country grows it on purpose is waiting for you at the end of this video. And it isn't the reason anybody guesses. The old accounts are clear about when to dig. The tubers can be gathered any month of the year, but they're best from late fall through early spring, when the vine has quit growing and everything it made all summer has gone downstairs. Thoreau dug some in October of 1852 and wrote down the nutty flavor and the dry texture. That's your season. After the frost knocks the leaves off, before the ground locks up hard. And here's where the ethics come in, because on this plant they aren't decoration. One chain might run 3 feet out from the stem in any direction. Take the big ones from the middle of that chain and put the little ones back in the hole. Firm the dirt down over them, and that patch feeds somebody again in 2 years. Strip the whole thing and you've killed a stand that took 10 years to build itself. The old rule was take what you need, use all of what you take, and give the ground time to come back, and know whose land you're standing on. Digging roots isn't legal everywhere, especially in a park or a preserve, and permission costs you nothing but a conversation. Now the cooking, and there's one hard rule sitting in the middle of it: cook them, never raw. Feeding trials run at Louisiana State University found boiled groundnut came in at a protein digestibility right around 81%, which is respectable food by any measure. Raw, the rats wouldn't eat enough of it to finish the test, and they lost weight trying. The tubers carry protease inhibitors, compounds that block the body from breaking protein down, and heat takes those apart. So all that protein we opened this video with only exists on the far side of a pot of boiling water. Past that, they cook like a potato, with a nuttier taste and a finer, drier grain to them. Boil them and peel them. Fry them in fat in a hot skillet. Roast them in the coals until the skin blisters and slips off in your fingers. The accounts record the Potawatomi boiling them plain. The Meskwaki and the Chippewa peeled them, parboiled them, sliced them, and dried them, and the Chippewa used those dried pieces as a seasoning through the rest of their food. The Menominee built scaffolds out of cedar bark, covered them with mats, and dried tubers on them for winter, and they also put them up by boiling them down in maple syrup. Peter Kalm, a Swedish botanist traveling through here in 1749, wrote that the roots got boiled and eaten in place of bread. That last one is the piece that matters most for a pantry. Boiled, peeled, dried, and ground. Groundnut turns into a flour that keeps, and a flour is a thing you can still be eating in February. If you go that road, follow current tested guidelines for drying and storing food, because the old way is the right method, and modern testing worked out the moisture and storage details nobody could measure back then, and eat a small portion the first time, the way a person ought to with any food that's new to them. Now, the pods. This is where a lot of foragers get turned around, and there's a reason for it that botanists didn't sort out until the 1980s. Groundnut in the northern half of its range is mostly triploid, which means it carries a third set of chromosomes and can't set seed at all. It flowers every year and it never fruits. The plants down south are diploid, and those are the ones that hang the 2 to 5 inch pods with real beans inside them. Bruno and Anderson published that work in the American Journal of Botany in 1988. So if you're up in Vermont or Wisconsin, you can hunt this vine your whole life and never see a bean on it, and there is nothing wrong with your vine. The old accounts say the seeds were cooked and eaten like peas in the summer, and Rafinesque recorded the Cree keeping the plant for the tubers and the seeds both. That's the whole thing. Beans in the summer, roots all winter, off one vine, on ground nobody is farming. So why can't you buy it in a single grocery store in this country? It's been tried. In 1845, with Ireland starving and the potato crop rotting in the field, groundnut was carried over and evaluated as a replacement. They turned it down. The reason given was the 2-year cycle, because the tubers want 2 or 3 seasons underground before there's a crop worth lifting. and that didn't fit the way Europe farmed. Then in 1985, Dr. William Blackman and Dr. Berthall Reynolds started a serious domestication program at the Louisiana State University Experiment Station in Baton Rouge. Over 9 years, they collected 210 wild plants across 19 states, grew out more than 2,200 lines, and kept 53 of the best. They got bigger tubers. They got tubers that clustered in close to the stem instead of wandering off. And then the program ended, and not one variety was ever released to the public. That collection sits today at Iowa State University, kept alive for research by Dr. Stephen Cannon. Here's the part that explains the whole thing. Those tubers grow strung out along a running route as far as a yard from where the vine comes up, at whatever depth they please. A potato harvester tears the skins off them and misses half of what's down there. Digging by hand runs somewhere between 16 and 32 hours of labor an acre. Add the trellis the vine wants, and 2 seasons of waiting before the first real harvest, and there is no way to make that arithmetic work across 1,000 acres. That's the honest reason it's not on a shelf, and it has nothing to do with how it tastes or what's in it. Nobody can patent a bean that already grows free in a ditch, and nobody has built the machine that picks it. Where that arithmetic doesn't apply, it's a crop like any other. Japan has been growing this American plant commercially for more than 100 years, mostly up in Aomori Prefecture, where it's a regional specialty people buy in the market. A machine couldn't dig it, so it stayed a hand-dug food, and a hand-dug food only survives if somebody is still teaching it out loud. That chain got broken the same way the others got broken, when the children were sent away to school and the old languages went quiet. The vine kept growing anyway. It's out there right now. But the arithmetic that fails on 1,000 acres works beautifully on the wet corner of one backyard. And that's the part worth sitting with. You can grow this. The plant guide says to set the tubers 2 or 3 inches deep in early spring, mulch them so the grass doesn't crowd the young shoots, and give those shoots something to climb, a trellis or a fence or a tall sunflower stalk. After 1 season, you'll pull several tubers about 1 inch thick off each plant, and after 2 or 3 seasons, you'll pull a meal. A lot of people keep it in a half barrel or a big tub set in the sun, mostly because those runners will wander into everything if you let them. Think about what this plant actually is. It's a legume, so it pulls its own nitrogen out of the air on the order of 40 to 130 pounds an acre in a year, and it hands the ground back richer than it found it. It's a perennial, so it comes up on its own every spring with nobody planting anything. It wants the soggy, low spot where the tomatoes drown. It gives you a protein root all winter and a protein bean in the summer, and it asks for no fertilizer, no seed order, and no permission from anybody. The old ones had no nutrition label. What they had was 10,000 years of watching which foods carried people through February. And this one made the list from the Missouri River clear to the Atlantic. Then a colony survived a winter on it, wrote a law about it, and lost it inside 3 generations. So think about that steak in the refrigerator again, what it cost you and what it took to get it there. Then go and look at the wet corner of your own ground in late September and find the soft vine with the maroon flowers at the leaf joints, and understand that you are looking at the same thing. And that's 1 page out of the Native American way, the whole of what the accounts kept about the plants on this ground and what people did with them, written down plain so it doesn't get lost. Now go ahead and grab your phone and open up your camera and point it at that square code on your screen and hold it steady for a second. A little link will pop up. Give it a tap, and it will take you straight to the book. And if you're watching on your phone right now, the link is waiting for you right down below in the description. Now, if you enjoyed this video, you will enjoy the video right now on screen even more. I can assure you on that. Click it right now, my friend.